Today in the program, creation of an individual brand and production in several countries, opening of a range of trends, development of an individual chain of franchises, and a successful story of a businesswoman. Today the word combination made in Kazakhstan sounds more frequently with pride and dignity, even in the correlation with famous international brands. The most famous domestic products successfully compete with foreign analogs. The heroine of today's program is the founder and manager of that brand that incorporated a whole range of trends under its own name, and her product is known to judges of beauty far outside her own country.
На сегодняшний день наш бренд является, я думаю, что, наверное, одним из крупных в своей области.
At present, our brand is one of the largest ones in its area with its particularity. And we've got a few trends. There's great choice of hair accessories. There is a line of evening bijoux. It's also a big branch, and we separate as a big line. We've got a line of wedding bijoux and all the things a bride needs, from the most conservative and classic to the most extravagant. Also, there is a line of national bijoux. There is a handmade line, and this is a workshop. Now we are launching one more line, a children's line. We'll launch production especially for this line of a premium class. We specially order authentic fabrics from America and Korea. That's why we are launching a separate workshop for this line.
Заказываем натуральные ткани из Кореи, то есть запускаем под это направление прям отдельный цех.
Probably the brand made by this fragile woman is the largest in its trend in the country. Today it is presented in all big towns, and it's one of the most popular franchises in its style.
По Казахстану, в других городах я работаю по условиям франшизы.
In other cities of Kazakhstan, I work under the terms of franchise, so I've got plenty of partners in every town. Therefore, they buy my brand by franchise and we become partners. Our headquarters is in Almaty. I take all decisions and develop this brand and lead it, but I have a partner in every town. There is a director who heads a separate town. So speaking generally of the company, to be honest, I haven't counted the exact quantity of people. It's about 100 people.
Я не считала, честно говоря, точное количество людей. Просто могу грубо, так сказать, примерно 100 человек.
The peculiarity of Olga Kim's brand is that cooperating with masters from different countries, she concentrated on the main manufacture of her products in Kazakhstan.
Мы работаем, сотрудничаем с несколькими брендами. Есть у нас грузинский.
We work and cooperate with several brands. We have a Georgian designer who works with the technique of hot enamel in silver, fine silver. We cooperate with Italian brands, and in all other things, of course, our brand is focused on its manufacturing. Our manufacture is not only in Kazakhstan, but also in Korea, China, Italy, France. There are different manufacturing countries, and now we're actively developing manufacturing, namely in Kazakhstan. We have a separate workshop, separate masters, and a designer, so it's all about creation, development, beginning from designs of sketches to the manufacturing of a finished product. A vast number of entrepreneurs demonstrate their talents in early life. Our heroine is not an exception. Olga was full of initiative and independence from childhood. Being a schoolgirl, she already got experience of running a business, and she started her own business already in her student years.
В старших классах, в принципе, я помогала своим родителям. У них тоже был бизнес. И у меня тоже достаточно для тех лет, я думаю, что...
In high school, I helped my parents. They had their own business and had enough experience for that age. My father trusted me. I had a social responsibility. I helped him. He could even send me to another city to control something. And I think all of that helped me. In my first year, I already started my own business. At the same time, being a student, I tried working part-time in an office. 10 years ago, it was just resale of bijoux. And having worked in retail in the beginning, I had a retail chain. I switched to wholesale and I did it all over Kazakhstan. Initially, I had a very good experience. I did wholesale for 5 years. We had our own strategy. We traveled all around Kazakhstan and we found partners. So we did a significant work, and we were in wholesale sales for 5 years. After 5 years of experience, I understood I wanted to come back to retail sales. I realized another period came, a new stage, and I wanted to create my own brand. I wanted to set up my own manufacturing and work at another level.
И захотелось вот создать свой бренд. Захотелось создать свой бренд, захотелось создать свое производство и работать уже на другом уровне.
Of course, there were problems. The company of Olga Kim went through a period of sharp boost of popularity and consequently a rapid growth of the company and had to go through a difficult period.
Без трудностей ни одно любое дело, ни одного предпринимателя, мне кажется, в истории вообще нет такого примера.
Every business has difficulties. In history, there isn't an entrepreneur who didn't have any difficulties. Speaking of the brightest ones, I remember them only 10 years later. Probably the first one is lack of resources, but I understood that resources are not always enough, and I guess they won't be enough. Also, I had to do everything myself, especially in the beginning.
Все делать самой, на начальных особенно этапах. Нет возможности нанимать большой штат, поэтому на начальных именно этапах мне кажется, что сложно было совмещать и делать многие вещи самой, быть и маркетологом, быть и директором.
There wasn't an opportunity to hire a big staff. That's why at initial stages, I suppose, it was hard to combine and do a lot of things myself. To be a marketing manager, a director, and a designer. And third, I think working with people. I think it's still difficult. It's not easy to be a director. First, you realize you carry all the responsibility. And when the company is small, you still can have a dialogue with every person and control his work. When the company grows, here you have to rearrange the company, and it can't work at the same level it has worked at before.
Уже нужно либо перестраивать компанию, либо она уже не может продолжать работать на том уровне, на котором она работает.
The projects of the ambitious businesswoman were always grand. So, she was among the first ones who dared to start her own large mono-brand shop that represents the products made in Kazakhstan.
Идея была построить такой магазин в городе Алматы, который был бы самый большой в Казахстане, и он на самом деле был.
The idea was to build a shop in Almaty, the biggest one in Kazakhstan. Every young woman, every old woman, and every girl could come and choose something that suits her. So the project ideas was to set up a big shopping center where there are lots of various boutiques, and every boutique would have its own trend.
Создать такой большой торговый центр, в котором будет много разных бутиков, и каждый бутик будет в своем направлении. Торговый зал, который был разделен на 13 зон. Каждая зона была в своем.
The sales area was divided into 13 zones. Every zone had its own design with its own assortment. There was a children's zone. I have a special attitude to the children's zone. The children's zone was with children's wallpaper, with children's furniture. It had only children's accessories, children, bouget, children's toys, so children could feel comfortable. My daughter was little and it was her favorite zone. I had a zone of natural gems, a zone of wedding bouget that had a totally different design, totally different shop windows, and all was so wedding-like, snowy white.
То есть зона свадебных украшений, естественно, там был совершенно другой дизайн, совершенно другие витрины. Все такое свадебное, белоснежное, белое.
3 years ago, serious changes happened in the businesswoman Olga Kim's life. She got married. And if earlier all people around her used to see her as a truly pragmatic and iron lady whose thoughts were all about work only, now she has different priorities.
Мне кажется, что вот у меня понятие счастья, оно как-то
I
трансформировалось.
guess my concept of happiness has been transforming and has changes. When I was a student, it seemed to me I wanted to be independent and self-sufficient to be happy. When I became independent and self-sufficient, I realized I wanted to meet a man, have a family, become a mother, and then I would be happy. That is why it's a complex concept when everything is good. When you establish yourself as a mother, when you establish yourself as a wife, when you establish yourself as a daughter, as a friend, as a companion, and as a partner. So it's kind of complex when you're satisfied in each sphere.
Какой-то комплекс. Это когда в каждой сфере ты удовлетворен.
Now Olga has to distribute her time between her business and her family, and our film crew could feel her great business and tough working hours as we had to postpone the shooting of the program a few times.
Бывают какие-то такие проекты, которые в какой-то момент, в какой-то период отнимают много времени, и ты...
There may be projects that sometimes take a lot of time, and of course you sacrifice this time. The time was supposed to be spent with your family. You have to turn down some big projects because I understand all these projects require certain time, my absence at home. And I sometimes refuse. I sacrifice something at work and some time with my family. But you need to find balance, some golden middle.
Лично вот я сделала выводы за последние 2 года, что мне нужно все это сократить, мне нужно работать в удовольствие, не перерабатывать, не уставать так, как я это делала до замужества.
I've come to a decision myself in the last 2 years to cut down on work. I have to work with pleasure, not to overwork, not to feel exhausted as I used to do before getting married. Moreover, my daughter is growing up and I want to become a mother, a second time. And I understand my life is more important for my children. And all these things occurring at work, any problems may seem terrible and the most difficult ones at the moment, but they pass in fact. And you stay with your children, your family, and your emotions. For me, I've made a decision to be a good mother. I don't want to miss the moments when my children grow up and have their important achievements.
Когда они делают какие-то важные достигают каких-то своих важных успехов.
Nevertheless, Olga Kim always surprises with her new projects. Her brand is filled with something extraordinary, fresh and unusual.
У меня есть еще один бренд, молодой очень достаточно, и этому бренду буквально.
I have one more brand, quite very young, and his brand will turn 1 year old this year. We've created one more clothesline with my sister, which is also presented in our shop. We've shown 2 collections at Kazakhstan Fashion Week. And speaking of all these bijoux, all these years I've been a designer, a buyer, and a director in one person. But now the company has grown, I physically have no time, so I have one more designer on staff who embodies, draws, and technically finishes some moments.
Так сказать, воплощает, отрисовывает и технически доделывает какие-то моменты.
This is a new trend of Olga Kim's activity causing intense interest either in the sphere of Kazakhstani fashion, industry, or abroad. And she's already received a few invitations to significant events in the fashion world.
В этом году мы поучаствовали на Milan Expo, то есть мы представили свою коллекцию.
This year we've participated in the Milan Expo. We presented our collection, made a presentation. There's been a show as part of the Expo Fashion Day held in Milan. We've made a special collection for that event where there were 4 Kazakhstani brands that presented their collections. There was a lot of media, a lot of celebrities. Italian people and I were very delighted that they valued us. They liked it. They came up to us to introduce themselves, showed interest and admiration. And I think our participation was a success. Currently, we're working on a collection that will be shown in February. And we've already got the plan of the collection we've already developed. And my supervisor, Philippe Chavel, visited me. He's a fashion supervisor, a critic, and quite famous in Europe. Today, he is my supervisor on development of this collection, which we are preparing for the fashion fair that will be held during the Fashion Week in Milan.
Вот этой вот коллекции, которую мы готовим для выставки White, которая пройдет во время Миланской недели моды.
Among definitions of success that we've got from our heroes this year, there were plenty of different variants of various achievements. But for Olga Kim, success is not a result, but success.
Я считаю себя идущей к успеху, наверное, больше, потому что успех...
I consider myself going to success because success is closely connected with the concept of happiness. For example, some people have a stereotype concept that you're successful if you have some recognition, fame, and financial position. But I suppose success is a complex concept as well. You have to work on it and control it all the time. I guess my work takes a lot of place in my life, and work leads to plenty of various interesting events. Work doesn't mean I sit in the office all day long, but it means there are plenty of events and lots of projects. And I suppose all these things have come together, my hobby, my interest with business. The most important thing is that I've established myself as a wife, as a mother, and everything goes well at work.
Самое главное, что я состоялась как жена и как мама, и у меня все хорошо на работе.